Picture a perfect Saturday afternoon in Columbus, Ohio. Red balloons brushing the ceiling, kids screaming over a dinosaur cake, and every iPhone in the room pointed at 7-year-old Mason Harper in his little crown, cheeks puffed out, ready to blow. Jessica Harper, 34, single mom, the one who always goes overboard on birthdays, is filming with shaking hands because this is the first party since the divorce. Everyone starts chanting, "Make a wish! Make a wish!" Mason leans toward the glowing candles, smiles the sweetest smile you've ever seen, and says, clear as day, "I wish the man in my closet stops watching me sleep so mommy doesn't have to die like the last mommy did." Dead silence. The happy birthday song dies in 20 throats at once. Aunt Emily's champagne glass slips from her fingers and explodes across the tile like a gunshot. You can actually hear the sprinkles still falling off the cake. Most people would have laughed it off as kid imagination. Jessica didn't. And what she found on the baby monitor 3 nights later is the reason this story still trends every single October. If you're new here, hit subscribe right now, drop your city in the comments. I need to know who's watching this in the dark with me tonight. Jessica Harper was the mom every other mom secretly wanted to be. 34, freshly divorced, but somehow still glowing. She was the one who showed up to classroom parties with homemade slime volcanoes and Pinterest-perfect snack boards. Her Etsy shop paid the bills, her smile paid the compliments, and her little ranch house on Maplewood Lane in Columbus, Ohio, looked like it had been ripped straight out of a Pottery Barn catalog. Ring doorbell, fresh mulch every spring, the same house she herself grew up in before her parents downsized to Florida. Her son Mason was 7 going on 17, in the best way. Gap-toothed grin, obsessed with velociraptors, still believed hugs could fix anything. Everyone said he looked exactly like Jessica at that age. Same hazel eyes, same wild cowlick that refused to lie flat. That October weekend, Jessica's younger sister Emily, 31, graphic designer, drove up from Cincinnati with a trunk full of presents and a bottle of Prosecco. Emily worshipped Jessica, always had. She kept saying this was going to be the best birthday yet, the one Mason would remember forever. And 23 adults plus 11 sugar-high kids crammed into that sunny living room agreed. Balloons everywhere, custom dino plates, the playlist Jessica spent 3 nights curating still bumping through the speakers. Phones were out, stories were flying, life felt safe and loud and absolutely perfectly normal. It was the kind of Saturday afternoon that makes you believe nothing bad can ever touch you. Not in this house, not in this family, not on Maplewood Lane. 20 minutes later, none of them would ever feel safe in that house again. The silence after Mason's wish only lasted 4 seconds, but it felt like 4 years. Someone coughed. A kid in the corner asked if he could have another cupcake. Then the adults did what adults always do. They forced the laugh. Too loud, too fast, the kind of laugh that tries to shove the darkness back into the box. Jessica's cheeks burned as she cut the cake with shaking hands, singing extra loud to drown out the echo of her son's voice. Emily wouldn't let it go. She followed Jessica into the kitchen, grabbed her wrist so hard that the knife clattered against the platter. "Jess, he said the last mommy. What the hell was that?" Jessica hissed back. "He's 7M. He heard something on YouTube. He's processing the divorce. I don't know. Drop it." But that night, after the last guest left and the house finally went quiet, Jessica couldn't drop it. She tucked Mason in, kissed his forehead like always, then sat on the edge of his bed and asked in the softest voice she had, "Hey buddy, who's the man in your closet?" Mason yawned, rolled over, totally unbothered. "Mr. David. He told me his name tonight while you were cleaning up. He said he used to live here before you killed his family." She stopped breathing. Their house was built in 2018. She had the closing papers framed in the hallway. There was no before. No previous owners, no tragic history, nothing. Just empty dirt and a brand new foundation. She stared at her little boy now, sound asleep, clutching his stuffed triceratops like nothing had happened. And for the first time in 7 years, Jessica Harper was terrified of the dark in her own home. The next 48 hours were a slow-motion panic attack. Jessica started at sunrise Sunday, ripping Mason's room apart while he was downstairs watching Jurassic Park for the 100th time. She flipped the mattress, emptied every drawer, ran her hands along every baseboard, looking for whatever YouTube video, whatever older kid at school, whatever nightmare had planted the name David in her son's head. That's when she found it. One crayon drawing, folded small and shoved under the trim like it had been waiting. 5 stick figures holding hands, X's for eyes on every single one. At the bottom, in shaky 7-year-old letters, David's turn soon. Jessica's knees hit the carpet. She stared at those words until they stopped making sense. By midnight, she was on her 3rd pot of coffee, scrolling through the Ring app at 3:17 a.m. like a lunatic. Emily hadn't gone home. She was camped on the living room couch in one of Jessica's hoodies, kitchen knife on the coffee table, eyes bloodshot from refusing to sleep. Monday night, same routine. Jessica sat cross-legged in the dark hallway, phone glowing, refreshing the live feed of Mason's room every 30 seconds. Emily dozed upright on the couch, knife still in her hand. At 2:58 a.m., the screen glitched, just a flicker, the way it does when motion is detected. Jessica's heart slammed against her ribs. She zoomed in. Mason was asleep on his side, blanket kicked off, moonlight cutting across the carpet. Then, the shadow moved. It started in the corner by the closet, tall, thin, no features, just a slice of darkness that didn't belong. It stretched across the floor like spilled ink, stopping at the edge of Mason's bed. It hovered there for 4 full seconds, long enough for Jessica to see it had the outline of a man before it folded back into the wall like it had never been there at all. Jessica didn't scream. She couldn't. She just sat frozen, phone trembling in her hand, watching her sleeping son breathe in and out while something that shouldn't exist stood over him in the dark. Emily found her like that at dawn, still staring at the frozen frame, whispering the same sentence over and over. There's no shadow in that room. There's no shadow in that room. Night 3. Tuesday bleeding into Wednesday, 2:17 a.m. exactly. Jessica hadn't slept in 72 hours. She was propped against the hallway wall, laptop balanced on her thighs, baby monitor feed blown up to full screen. Emily had finally passed out downstairs, knife still clutched like a teddy bear. The room on the screen was silent, silvered by moonlight. Mason slept on his back, mouth slightly open, one arm flung above his head. Jessica's own heartbeat was louder than the audio. Then, Mason sat straight up. No groggy rub of the eyes, no yawn, just bolt upright like someone yanked an invisible string. He stared straight into the empty corner by the closet and smiled. "Yes, Mr. David, I left the window open like you asked. Mommy's still asleep." Jessica was already moving before her brain caught up, laptop crashing to the floor. She took the stairs 3 at a time, bare feet slapping hardwood, lungs burning. Mason's voice floated down the hallway behind her, calm and happy. "She won't wake up until you're inside." She hit the door so hard it bounced off the wall. Mason was back under the covers, eyes closed, breathing slow and even like he'd never moved. The window was wide open. October air poured in, curtains fluttering like ghosts. She slammed it shut, locked it, spun around. Mason didn't stir. Downstairs, Emily met her in the doorway, wild-eyed. Together they ran outside in socks, flashlights cutting through the dark. There, pressed deep in the damp mulch beneath Mason's window, were 2 perfect adult footprints. Size 11, deep tread, leading away into the grass and vanishing. Police came within 12 minutes. They took casts of the prints, ran the tread pattern through every database they had. The shoe was a 1994 New Balance 998, discontinued in 96. The only match in Ohio belonged to a man named David Allen Reed, murdered 3 miles away on October 31st, 1994, stabbed 17 times in his own driveway. Case never solved. David's 6-year-old son vanished the exact same night. No body, no ransom, no trace. That boy would be 34 years old today, the same age as Jessica Harper. And when detectives pulled the old missing person poster, every mom on the internet lost her mind because the grainy school photo of little missing Caleb Reed looked identical to Jessica at that age. Same hazel eyes, same wild cowlick that refused to lie flat. Detectives left Jessica's house at 4 a.m. pale as ghosts. The lead investigator, a 28-year veteran who'd seen every kind of evil Ohio could throw at him, told her flat out, "I've never asked to be taken off a case before tonight. Consider it done." They kept the file open, but never followed up. Some lines you just don't cross. Within 48 hours, the internet did what it always does. It detonated. Someone found the 1994 case on newspapers.com. Someone else uploaded the missing poster of 6-year-old Caleb Reed. Then came the side-by-side. Mason at 7 versus Caleb at 6. Same crooked smile, same cowlick, same tiny scar on the left eyebrow. The photos hit Reddit at 2 a.m., and by sunrise, r/True Crime had crowned it the most cursed case of the decade. Theories exploded like wildfire. Reincarnation, skinwalker, demonic attachment. The most terrifying one gained the most traction. Caleb Reed never died. He was kidnapped that night, raised under a new name, and grew up to become Jessica Harper. She gave birth to her own son, completing the cycle so David could finally come home. Then came the voicemail. Jessica woke up Thursday morning to one new message, timestamped 2:17 a.m. from a blocked number. When she pressed play, the first thing she heard was the unmistakable clack, clack, clack of a 1994 rotary dial tone, the kind that doesn't exist anymore. Then a little boy's voice, soft and sweet and utterly calm. "Tell Mommy I'm home now." The message ended with the same rotary click, like the caller hung up an old wall phone. Jessica played it for Emily. Emily threw up in the kitchen sink. 2 years later, the voicemail is still the top post on r/paranormal with 1.4 million upvotes. And every single person who listens to it in the dark swears they hear Mason breathing in the background, waiting. Mason never mentioned Mr. David again, not once. He's 9 now, plays travel soccer, argues about screen time, and still sleeps with the same stuffed triceratops. To every teacher, coach, and pediatrician, he is heartbreakingly, perfectly normal. But every October, on the exact anniversary of that birthday party, Jessica's Ring camera records the same thing at 2:17 a.m. sharp. One tall adult shadow, no features, standing motionless outside Mason's window. It never moves closer. It never leaves. After exactly 4 minutes, it simply folds into the darkness like smoke. And every year, when Jessica creeps in to check on him afterward, Mason is sleeping peacefully on his back, mouth slightly open, smiling. The same sweet smile he gave the candles right before he made his wish. Jessica's Facebook post, before she made everything private, has been screenshot and shared millions of times. I don't know if my son is my son, or if he's the son of the man I may have murdered in another life. All I know is every night I check the closet before I check on him, and sometimes the closet door is already open. If you're a mom watching this right now, pause the video. Go check your baby monitor history from exactly 2:17 a.m. last night. Hundreds of you already have after my last video, and the messages you sent me are the reason this one exists. Sleep tight, ladies, and whatever you do, don't blink.